What's going on, everybody? B. Scott here with you, and on today's show, we got your quarterback sit starts rolling into week 7. We got a lot of big buys, lots of big quarterbacks on bye this week. So I'm going to give you your starts, your sits, and some definite stream options heading into week 7. So keep it locked and loaded right here at the First Four Downs. What's going on, guys, and welcome back. As I mentioned in the preview, we're going over your quarterback sit starts. Week 7. Week 6 is over, and the bye weeks this week are incredible. To be honest, lots of big-name quarterbacks on bye. Josh Allen, Dak Prescott, Justin Herbert, Kirk Cousins. 4 quarterbacks that you're more than likely starting on a weekly basis. So I'm going to give you some starts, sits, streams, all that good stuff. But before we get to today's content, don't forget, like the video, subscribe, share, thumb bell, all that good stuff, and then comment if there's a quarterback you want to hear more about or one I did not mention. Drop in the comment section, and I'll be glad to get back to you. So let's start with the obvious quarterback starts this week. Ones that should be set and forget it, plain and simple. So Patrick Mahomes on the road against Tennessee Titans. They give up tons of fantasy points to quarterbacks. He should have a great week. Coming in to this week as one of the top quarterbacks in fantasy, so you're starting him. Tom Brady, same situation. Playing the Chicago Bears, actually the defense has been pretty decent, but it's Tom Brady leading the league in touchdown passes. You're not sitting him, plain and simple. Kyler Murray playing the Houston Texans. They're favored by 17 points in this one. Obvious must start. Matthew Stafford playing his old team, the Detroit Lions, in L.A. Goff, man, it's going to be embarrassing when he shows up and gets destroyed by that Rams team, plain and simple. You're firing up Matthew Stafford, been great for fantasy so far this season. Jalen Hurts, same situation. Hasn't necessarily played great over the last 4 weeks, but the floor from the rushing upside is there, plain and simple. He's good for fantasy football, and you're going to be starting him here on the road against the Las Vegas Raiders, even in a decent, tough matchup, considering the Raiders. You saw what they did to the Denver Broncos, 9 sacks, getting after the quarterback, but still, I like Jalen Hurts. Obviously, Aaron Rodgers, you're going to be starting him, playing the Washington football team. Set it and forget it. They give up the most fantasy points quarterbacks. It's crazy, just touchdowns everywhere. So, and then Lamar Jackson, playing the Cincinnati Bengals, tough division matchup, but he's been great, and his floor is very, very safe. Even last week, didn't have necessarily a great fantasy day, but they destroyed the Los Angeles Chargers. I think it's going to be a little more competitive in this game, and because it's a divisional game, you're starting Lamar Jackson all day. Now, obviously, I got guys that are going to be on the stream edge, and that's going to be Joe Burrow. So Joe Burrow played well over the entire season, plain and simple, 2+ touchdowns in every single game, coming off his best performance, 271 passing yards, 3 passing touchdowns. And I get it, Baltimore Ravens, they just held Justin Herbert to 195 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. But Burrow's been playing very, very effectively. Their offense is completely well-rounded. Joe Mixon's healthy. All their pass catchers are healthy. And I like Joe Burrow this week as a potential stream. Now, yes, it is going to be a tough environment playing in Baltimore, tough divisional matchup. But I like Joe Burrow as a possible stream here, considering, obviously, there's just big-name quarterbacks that are out. So Joe Burrow, he's going to be on the start for me this week. And now, Derek Carr, playing the Philadelphia Eagles. They've been really, really good to some quarterbacks and really, really bad to some quarterbacks. So, obviously, Derek Carr has 2 touchdowns in 5 of 6 games. He had the 1 bad game against the Chicago Bears, averaging 324 yards passing per game. And then at home, Derek Carr is averaging 12 more pass attempts than on the road. And honestly, he's averaging over 40 pass attempts anyway. So get Derek Carr in your lineups this week, coming off a great game against the Denver Broncos, albeit the Philadelphia Eagles. Who knows what defense is going to show up? But guess what? I think Derek Carr is a pretty safe play here in week 7, considering the heavy buys. Now I got some sits, guys I would not be starting, even in plus matchups, Daniel Jones and Sam Darnold. I'll talk about them together. They're playing each other, and they just have not been getting it done over the recent future. They both have defenses that are decent enough, and I don't like this matchup. Even though the New York Giants give it up, I want to say 7th, 8th most fantasy points to quarterbacks, Sam Darnold has played terrible over the last couple weeks, and I just can't trust it here against the New York Giants team. Plain and simple. And then Daniel Jones, same token. He's got a lot of pass catchers that are hurt. Backup running back, backup receivers. I mean, I just can't trust Daniel Jones at this point. So both those guys are going to be sitting for me this week. A couple other sits. Taylor Heineke has not played good over the last couple weeks. And on top of that, going against the Chiefs defense that actually was terrible, and he didn't look good. And now he's got the Green Bay Packers defense. Now, yes, they've given up some fantasy points to quarterbacks, but over the last 3 weeks, they do have 4 interceptions, and I just don't like this matchup on the road in Lambeau. It's going to be tough for Taylor Heineke, so I'm sitting him this week. And then Teddy Bridgewater. Obviously had 300-plus passing yards, 3 touchdowns, was sacked 9 times, threw 3 interceptions, but for fantasy, did okay. On the road on Thursday Night Football against Cleveland Browns defense that I still think is decent, albeit they haven't played it. But Bridgewater dealing with a little bit of an injury, and I don't really love the matchup. So Bridgewater is going to be a sit for me this week. Now on to some streams. These are guys you're going to be looking to pick up and stream for this week, considering the buys, the heavy buys. So first off, Matt Ryan, playing Miami Dolphins. Give up third most passing yards, the ninth most fantasy points to quarterbacks, fourth most passing touchdowns. They've been decimated with injuries in the secondary, on that offense, just everything. Miami's been decimated, period. And Matt Ryan's been playing very, very well. Coming off a great game in which he had over 300 yards. You've seen it in London. And then he gets the bye week. He's starting to build a rapport with Kyle Pitts. That offense is starting to roll a little bit. Now Calvin Ridley will be back. And I like Matt Ryan this week, averaging 41 passing attempts per game. That's great. So Matt Ryan is an obvious stream for me this week. On the flip side of that game, Tua Tagovailoa, another also a stream option. The Atlanta Falcons give up the fourth most fantasy points to quarterbacks. Tua coming off a game in which he had 329 passing yards, 2 touchdowns, 47 pass attempts, and the defense is bad. The offense, they don't know how to run the football. They're hurting for pass catchers a little bit, but Tua's doing enough to get it done, especially for fantasy. This could be a potential shootout type of game where you see these quarterbacks really go back and forth here, and I like Tua and Matt Ryan as possible stream options this week. And then Carson Wentz, another stream option at the San Francisco 49ers. 2+ touchdowns in 3 straight games. Carson Wentz been playing very, very well. He's getting better and better. San Francisco giving up 10th most fantasy points to quarterbacks. And the San Francisco 49ers giving up 20+ fantasy points weeks 1 through 4. And week 5, obviously, they held Kyler Murray a little bit in check, then go into the bye. So I like Carson Wentz this week as a potential stream option. Like I said, if you got some of these quarterbacks that are out and you need a flyer, plain and simple, Carson Wentz could be your guy. He's been playing very well and just increasing his play every single week. And then Jameis Winston, this is a boomer bust quarterback. Plain and simple, stream option, 274 passing yards, 4 touchdowns against the Washington football team before their bye last week. Going into Seattle giving up the 4th most passing yards to quarterbacks. And the Seattle defense overall has not played very well, to be honest. And this team is starting to build up those injuries as well. So I like Jameis Winston. He is a potential boomer bust on a weekly basis, but he could boom here heading into week 7. So that's been your quarterback sit starts, your streams, some sits, your obvious starts. And if there's a quarterback I didn't mention, just drop in the comment section. I'll be glad to give you my opinion. And then like the video, subscribe, share, thumb bell, all that good stuff. And enjoy, as I'll have all your sit starts for every single position, every single week for the whole fantasy season. So for the first 4 downs, it's been B. Scott, and I'm out.